Until this blow in the bottom of the ninth with 1 on, 1 out by Felix Jose, who turned defeat into victory for St. Louis. A very depressed Cub team walked off the field, and especially their reliever, Dave Smith. But now tonight's a new night. The Cubs will try to even up the series. Rick Sutcliffe, the only man who's won on this road trip, will face another ex-Cub, Tewksbury. We'll have all the action for you coming up in a moment.
Chicago Cubs baseball on.
Harry Carey with Steve Stone from Bush Memorial Stadium in St. Louis, where the Cubs are anxious to even up this series after losing another heartbreaker last night.
3 out of the last 4 have been very difficult for the Cubs, but they got a breath of fresh air. Mark Grace is back in the lineup, and Chico Walker is playing left field tonight, so a different look in the lineup, and hopefully there'll be a different result.
You know, Steve, they're 7-7. That's not bad for this time of the year. But if they'd have won the 4 out of 5 on this road trip, in which they were leading going into the 9th, they'd be 11-3, and everybody would have their opinions confirmed. This is Harry Carey with Steve Stone and Tom Brenneman from Bush Memorial Stadium. We're ready to play baseball. Jerome Walton is going to lead it off. Bob Tewksbury is on the mound. He's won 1, lost 1. We'll give you the lineups in a moment. Tewksbury's ready for his first pitch. And here it is. Swung, and he missed the curveball. The Cub lineup: Walton in center, Sandberg at second, Grace at first, Dawson in right, Chico Walker in left, Dunston, the shortstop, Berryhill catching, Scott at third, Sutcliffe pitching. There's a drive foul down the right field line. Strike 2. Remember last night, Walton started the game with a ground doubled to right.
Tewksbury usually doesn't walk anybody, although this year his control hasn't been quite as good in 2 starts. Last year he averaged less than 1 walk per 9 innings.
He struck him out, a fastball right down the middle, and Walton is called out. There's the Cardinal defense, just as it was last night, with the exception of Tewksbury's pitching. 3 umpires on duty. Joe West, Paul Runge's been scratched. Eric Gregg and Charlie Rutherford are the other 2. Here's Sandberg. 6 out of 20 for the year against Cardinal pitching. Curveball. Tewksbury. 110. Lost 9 for the Cardinals last year. Pitch is fouled off. The count is evened up. Well, Teach Yourself to Win is the title of Steve's book. And he starts out with the first chapter at odds with Earl.
It was a stormy few years with Earl.
Yeah, but that'll catch every reader's interest. Here's the pitch. There's a drive foul. Earl Weaver, the colorful manager that Steve pitched for in Baltimore, and you can make the whole book about Earl. Instead, there are a lot of great chapters in here, like zero in on the negative, blockades to success, successful meditation. Now the pitch. He jammed him. Easy pop fly. Okendo is there, and he has it. Erase a negative belief system. Keeping conversation. Do you really want to be a winner? Teach Yourself to Win. You ought to give that to every pitcher on the Cubs staff.
Well, Harry, what it is a motivational self-help book with a baseball backdrop. I just didn't want to write a baseball book, so it took me 10 years after I retired to finally put this out. And hopefully some people who do read it will get something out of it.
I know I'm going to get something out of it. I'm getting a dictionary out of it to follow your thought. Here's the pitch. In there is strike call. Mark Grace has hit a homer against the Cardinals this year. He's hit 6 out of 11. He's batting .267. Pitch a little low. I just like to read you the names of the chapters. Keeping concentration. Do you really want to be a winner? Changing goal. Controlling the setback. There's a ground ball headed for right field, but look where Oquendo's playing. And he throws him out. Oquendo threw out Grace from short right field. 1, 2, 3. We go in the bottom of the first, no score. In St. Louis, here's the Cardinal defense. Where's the Cub defense? There's the Cardinal lineup. We didn't give you that before, did we? Gilkey leading off. Smith, the shortstop. Langford in center. Guerrero at first. Jose, who hit the game winner last night in right. Zeal at third. Pagnazzi catching. Oquendo at second. And former Cub Bob Tewksbury, the pitcher. And there's the Cub defense. Chico Walker playing left in place of George Bell. And Sutcliffe is on the mound.
Rick Sutcliffe worked 6 innings in his first start. He allowed 4 hits, 2 earned runs, walked 2 and fanned 2 against the Pirates in Pittsburgh.
Here's a pitch low. Once again, teach yourself to win. You too can become a winner in your life. Follow the advice of Steve given in his book and get on the winning track. Teach yourself to win is just what you need to do that. Plus, it's full of baseball lore, anecdotes, and humor to make it a pleasure to read. Teach yourself to win, written by Steve Stone. There's a drive, right field, base hit in the right field corner. A double for Gilkey. Gilkey opens the game with a double to right. That's how the Cardinals saw the Cubs do it last night.
That's what you have to ask yourself after a good first outing, and how the arm is going to spring back for Rick Sutcliffe. This is a fastball in the outer portion of the plate. The first double of the year for Bernard Gilkey, who's got pretty good speed. He slices this one away from Andre Dawson, and the Cardinals are in good shape. Don't be surprised if they use a lot of motion. Ozzie likes to bunt. The Cardinals aren't going to hit the ball out of the park, so they're a very aggressive team on the base paths.
Bernard Gilkey showed you good hitting there. If he'd have tried to pull it, there's a pickoff play, but he doesn't throw. If he'd have tried to pull that ball, he probably would have grounded out to shortstop. He went right with the pitch and lined it in the right field corner. The pitch to Ozzie. He's gonna bunt for a hit, but the pitch was low and inside. Ozzie Smith 0 for 3 last night. Gilkey had 2 out of 4 and drove in the first run in the 8th inning to make it a 2-1 ball game, and then they won it in the bottom of the 9th. Line drive, right field, coming on. Nice play by Andre. Boy, Dawson got a great jump of that ball and hung up there for him. 1 away.
Ozzie Smith hit that ball very hard, and you have to worry about those line drives. If they don't get above the lights, sometimes they're hard to see. Andre Dawson had no problem with that. The visibility is fairly limited here. The lights haven't taken over yet. It's still dusk, but Andre made a fine play.
Here now is Ray Langford, hitting .310 for the year. Had nothing out of 4 last night, which was the only time he's faced the Cubs this year. Last year he hit a ton, .458 against Cub pitching. Curveball over the outside corner, a strike call.
What's amazing about the Cardinals this year, everybody thought they wouldn't score any runs, but that the defense would be pretty good and the relief pitching very good. Well, they're second in the league in hitting, and they're second in the league in runs scored, and that surprises a lot of people because they're not stealing near as many bases this year as they did the last few.
Inside, ball 1. But their relief pitching has been absolutely phenomenal. Amazing. Led by Lee Smith, who has 5 saves and a victory and a great earned run average. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bouncing ball to Grace. He's got it. Steps on the bag. And Gilkey advanced to third. And here now is Guerrero. He walked on a 3-2 pitch. The first man Dave Smith pitched to last night. With 1 out in the 9th, he relieved Ossenmacher. He walked Guerrero on a 3-2 pitch. It could have been called either way. And then Jose hit the homer to win the game. There's Smitty. 2 out.
There's a lot of pressure on Damon Berryhill right now because usually when Rick Sutcliffe throws curveballs early in the game, those are the pitches that wind up in the dirt, and Berryhill's got to knock anything down.
High fastball inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Boy, look at this. Augusto is 1-0 a relief pitcher. Carpenter is 1-1 with a 1.13 earned run average. Curveball a little bit outside. Terry's been in 6 games, hasn't allowed an earned run. Lee Smith, earned run average 2.45. He's been in 6 games. He's had 5 saves and a win. That's perfect.
Mike Perez has a 2.16 ERA, Harry, and that rounds out the bullpen. So when Joe Torre goes down there, he's pretty well assured that whoever he brings in is going to get the job done, at least in the early going.
2 balls, no strikes. Guerrero, dangerous hitter. Fastball high. The Cubs on this trip have lost 4 games. 3 of them they led going into the bottom of the 9th.
Can't get careless with Guerrero here because there's no doubt he's got the 3-0 go if it's to his liking.
Good fastball. At the knees over the outside corner, and it's 3-1. Rick Sutcliffe going for victory number 2. A high. We ought to be out of the inning on this one. Andre Dawson in. Makes the catch to retire the side. So the leadoff double is wasted. At the end of 1, no score. Here's Andre Dawson leading it off. Fastball low and away. Sutcliffe, after giving up a double to Bernard Gilkey, settled down, got the next 3 men out. Fine pitching. The delivery. A little tap. He might beat it out. It's going to be a close play, and he does beat it out. Zeal knew he didn't have a play, just held on to the ball. A swinging bunt. And Dawson is on with a base hit. And here's Chico Walker. Watch his.
Zeal is playing deep, and there's nothing he can do with this ball. Andre Dawson doesn't get much of it, but he puts it in a great spot. Zeal comes in. You don't want to throw this ball. The only thing you can do is throw it away, and Andre Dawson has the first Cub hit of the night.
Well, it'll look like a screaming line drive in the box score tomorrow. So he's on first with nobody out. Here's Chi Walker. Fastball in there, a strike call. Now Zeal playing shallow but wide of the bag at third. Guerrero holding Dawson on. The outfield doesn't play very deep.
Walker is a good low fastball hitter. Let's see if Tewksbury throws one there.
Curveball outside.
Yankees probably thought they had the next coming of Mel Stottlemyre when they drafted Bob Tewksbury. In 1982, he went 15-4 with a 1.88 ERA at Fort Lauderdale. Amazingly, he completed 13 of his 23 starts at the Class A level.
There's a high fly ball going to be caught by Langford in right center. Boy, if he could have plugged that gap with a line drive instead of high fly, he'd have run a week. They were playing him rather shallow.
Tewksbury came over to the Cubs in the deal for Steve Trout. He had 2 shots with Chicago, was 0-4 for the Cubs in '87. Just pitched in 1 ball game with him in '88. And then it was on to Louisville and the Cardinal organization.
So Chico Walker's out, one away, and that'll bring up Sean Dunston, who's hit a homer against the Cardinals this year in Chicago. Tewksbury's pitch, double play ball. Out at second base for one, out at first for two. Dunston rolled into a double play, 6-4-3. We go in the bottom of the second, no score. And here's a guy who ended the ball game with a 2-run homer last night. It beat the Cubs 3-2. He was acquired from the Oakland A's in the Willie McGee deal. Swings and he misses a fastball. 1 strike and nothing.
That deal was a particularly good deal for the Cardinals because they were going to lose Willie McGee to free agency anyway and traded him to a contender, the Oakland A's, and got a pretty good ball player in return.
There's a curveball outside, evens up the count. Boy, look the way he stands up at that plate. Arnie, boy, he's almost standing on it. Look at that. You'd think you could saw the bat off in his hand, but if you don't get it well in his kitchen, he'll hit it a mile like he did last night. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
With only 3 umpires working, the umpires on the bases are going to have to hustle a little bit extra tonight. Paul Runge with a bad back, and he is not in attendance this evening.
The delivery. Line drive, left center field, a base hit. Here goes Jose trying for second. And he makes it. Walton had a little trouble getting the ball back.
Jose with good speed has recorded his 7th double. Walton gets to the ball quickly enough, but then doesn't get rid of it quickly enough. You can see him having some problems corralling that one, and that's all that Jose had to see. As soon as he saw Walton juggle the ball, he took off.
Watch it. He really could have held him to a single. It took a long time getting it back. Here's a curveball inside. Second inning in a row, the leadoff man doubles.
Zeile is a dead pull hitter, but one of the things that Joe Torre worked on in the spring was moving the runner along. Let's see if he goes to right, away from what he does naturally.
Long lead by, there's a fastball. Felix Jose. You almost want to say Jose Felix. There's a guy with 2 first names or 2 last names. All I know, he's a great hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pickoff play, the runner back. Oakland has lost their last 5 in a row, but they're out in front tonight. Todd Zeile from UCLA, where he's an outstanding catcher in college. Fastball high. 2 balls and a strike. Zeile, Pagnazzi, and Oquendo coming up in that order with a runner at second, nobody out. Sutcliffe. Ooh, he had a good cut, but he fouled the pitch back. And the count is evened up.
I'm sure that Joe Torre could help Todd Zeile in his conversion from a catcher to a third baseman. Joe Torre made the same conversion. It's tough behind the plate every day. At first, Zeile was hesitant to make that change, but Joe Torre said that he feels in the long run it's going to be better for Zeile. In the short run, it's much better for the Cardinal Ball Club because Pagnazzi is a much better thrower.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Whoa, just missed. He went for the outside corner with his curve, barely missed. 3-2. There you see what Rick did in his last appearance, his first appearance of the year. in Pittsburgh. That's the only game the Cubs have won on this trip. 3-2. He walked him. He missed with a fastball. And now Pagnozzi will be the hitter.
I wouldn't be surprised if in this situation you saw Joe Torre use the hit and run. He has hit and run before with Pagnozzi. He is an inviting double play target. He's grounded into 2 of them this year. But he also is a contact hitter. So let's see what Torre has in mind.
Let's pause for identification.
This is WGN-TV Chicago, America's #1 sports station.
Harry Carey and Steve Stone. The Redbirds have runners at first and second, nobody out. Tom Pagnozzi, the hitter. Sutcliffe whirled to make a play, held on to the ball. Pagnozzi, for the years, hit 3 out of 12 against Cub pitching. He had 1 out of 3 last night. Curve outside.
The thing that Rick avoided in Pittsburgh was falling behind by trying to nip at the corners. And that's what he's done a few times today.
1 ball, no strikes. The outfield straight away. There go the runners. One of them does. He is saved. And Felix Jose stole third.
His second stolen base of the year. He got a good jump. Sutcliffe looked back one time, then completely forgot about Jose. He slides in before the tag of Scott. So a mental mistake on the part of Sutcliffe. Just one look and it cost him a base.
Runners now first and third. Now a double play, the run would score. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fouled it out of play. 1-2. Oquendo would be next. Jose should have only had a single. He's stretching to a double when Walton fielded it rather slowly. A high foul ball out of play. Final game of the series tomorrow night. No television tomorrow night. Our next telecast will be Thursday night from Cincinnati as the Cubs face the world champions. We'll be with you at 6:30 Chicago time. He's trying to check his swing, but he fouled a pitch back off to the right. A bigger crowd than last night when 23,943 paid.
Well, time for that fake to third and fake to first, isn't it, from Rick?
Yeah. 1 ball, 2 strikes. High. He rotates his arm as if he's not loose yet.
He's taking a lot more time here tonight than he did in Pittsburgh. Of course, it was a lot colder in Pittsburgh that particular evening.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Double play ball, a run will score. Out at second, at first, out at third. Double play, the run score. 6-4-3. Pagnozzi does not get credited with a run batted in.
This is where the stolen base hurts Rick Sutcliffe and the Cubs. Because you'd have a man at third with 2 outs. They trade the run for the double play and they get it easily. But they fall behind 1-0.
Here now is Oquendo. Well, you got to make at least a run anyhow to win. Now you got to make at least 2 to win. And 2 with 7 innings to go is not that big a handicap. 0-1. Fastball inside. Oquendo's become a fine hitter from both sides. You don't strike him out too much. He always puts the ball in play. There's a drive foul down the left field line.
Jose Oquendo has done it with just plain hard work. He was about 30 pounds lighter when he came up with the New York Mets. He was their shortstop in the days when it was Brian Giles at second and Jose Oquendo at short. He came over here in a backup role to Ozzie Smith, but has taken over the everyday second base job. But he comes early, stays late, gets as much batting practice as anybody on this team.
Fastball high. Give well wishes to John Daniels at Evanston Hospital from the WGN crew. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody on base. 1-0 Cardinals. There's a ground ball. Sandberg throws him out. At the end of 2, St. Louis 1, Cubs 0. Louis has Damon Berryhill leads it off. Damon hitting only 115, 1 out of 14 against Cardinal pitching. Swings and misses.
They're keeping the ball away from Berryhill, and that's really hurting him. Right now he's feeling for the ball away. He's got to make a decision. He has to either drive the ball the other way or lay off that pitch, because high and away, he's going to pop it up.
Swung, fouled it back. Rick Hummel, a very fine baseball writer for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. His mother, Jerry Hummel, watching the ball game in Port Charlotte, Florida. And wants to pass along his greetings to his mom down there. He struck him out on 3 pitches. Boy, he's got a, looks like he really swings up on the ball. Like he uppercuts everything.
He really can't handle that ball up and away, and yet he's swinging at everything out there. Tewksbury keeps the ball away, and Berryhill just has no chance.
I think somebody would have him swing down. There's a drive hit by Gary Scott. It's going to be caught in right field by Felix Jose. 2 up, 2 down. Here's Rick Sutcliffe.
Tewksbury making it look easy. He's changing speeds. As usual, he's not walking anybody. He has the best innings pitched to walks ratio in the history of the St. Louis Cardinals for any pitcher who's thrown over 100 innings in 1 year. And that is saying something, because they've had some great ones here.
2 out, nobody on. The pitch is a little wide. They're here from Teeble's Restaurant in Cherville, Indiana. There's a ground ball. This will be easy. Guerrero steps on the bat. 1, 2, 3. We go in the bottom of the 3rd. 1-0 St. Louis. St. Louis, Jane Williams, who has relatives Mr. and Mrs. Earl Zumstein at Elmwood Park. Here's a ground ball hit by Tewksbury to throw to first for the out. Bob Tewksbury grounds out to Dunston. 1 away. Tom Brennan will be coming along at the end of this inning. We're in the bottom of the 3rd, 1-0 St. Louis. And Rick Sutcliffe pitching well again. They shouldn't have had the run they got in the 2nd. Did a slow fielding on a ordinary single, which was turned into a double. Then the stolen base. By the way, you know, the Cardinals have stolen 13 bases this year. They usually lead the league. They've been caught 9 times. The Cubs have swiped 13 and only been caught once. The Cub catchers have had only 7 stolen bases, and they've thrown out 3 men. The Cardinal catchers have had 18 stolen bases against them. They've thrown out only 4.
This is an example of pretty good scouting on the part of the Cardinals. Gilkey was signed in 1984 as a non-drafted free agent. He's only 24 years old.
The pitch, a little bit outside. Ball 3, 3-1. Gilkey line to double to right in the first. There's a drive, left field. Chico Walker plays it on 1 hop. And Gilkey is on with a single to left. Boy, he had 2 hits last night, and he's got 2 hits tonight.
Gilkey seems to be getting better and better. Sutcliffe throws a fastball right down the middle, and Bernard Gilkey, whose batting average is starting to climb, drives the ball into left field.
You notice how level his bat was, but more or less kind of swinging down on the ball, which is hard to pop up when you swing like that. 1 out, 1 on. Bottom of the third, 1-0, St. Louis. Runner back.
In the minor leagues, when Bernard Gilkey got 500 at-bats, he averaged 50 stolen bases a year. Now, he's just learning his craft, but he's very fast. He's 2 out of 4 in the stolen base department. He still hasn't learned the intricacies of getting the good jump, what to look for when a pitcher is going home or coming to first. But when he does, he is going to be a prolific base stealer.
He started to swing, try to check. Pitch was in there anyway for a strike call. Ozzie Smith flat out his first time up. Runner at first, 1 out, bottom of the third. The Redbirds lead 1-0. Ground ball. Dunston gets a force play at second base. A fine play going to his right in the opposite direction from which he had to throw, and he threw perfectly to Sandberg for the force out.
You have to throw in one motion when you do this because you know Gilkey can run. Dunston comes over into the hole, doesn't have time to straighten up the off-balance throw, and it's right on the button to retire Gilkey. Fine play by Dunston.
And Ozzie Smith tried to hit the ball to left field. Dunston just made an outstanding play. Here's Langford. Ray Langford hit the ball hard several times. Base hit, left field. Chico Walker gets the ball back in a hurry, and now here's Guerrero with runners on at first and second and 2 away. Langford lined a sharp single to left. They have had 4 hits. The Cubs have made only 1. Fastball is high.
Guerrero swings a big heavy bat and he grabs it right down at the bottom. In fact, he wraps the little finger under the knob of the bat, get a little more extension. You'd think you could get inside on him, but if you go in there, you better go way in there because he is as quick as anybody.
He tried to get in there, and the ball too high and inside. Langford at first. Gilkey at second, 2 out. Smith at second, make that. He forced Gilkey, and Langford at first. Ozzie, a fine base runner with a good lead. Base hit, center field, a run is in. And it's a 2-0 ball game in favor of the Cardinals. Guerrero lined a single to center.
And you fall behind Guerrero 2-0 and come to him with a fastball, and you can bet he's going to hit it where it's pitched. Pedro not thinking about the long ball. He takes this fastball down and out over the plate and drives it right back up the middle for RBI number 9.
That brings up Felix Jose. He doubled and scored their first run on the double play. Runners first and third. 2-0 Cardinals. A smash down the right field line. That may score 2. One is in. Another man racing for the plate, Guerrero, and he's going to score. It's a triple for Jose. And the Cardinals have scored 3 and lead 4-0.
Felix Jose is all world in this series. Home run winning the game yesterday, a double and a triple and 2 at-bats today. Give him 13 RBIs this year, and here comes Pedro Guerrero chugging around. That's the first triple of the year for Jose, and he is as hot as anybody in the league.
Jose won the game with a home run in the bottom of the 9th last night. 4-0 now in favor of the Cardinals. Here's Todd Zeal. 1 ball, no strikes. All the scoring came with 2 out. Guerrero drove in 1 with a base hit to center, and Felix Jose drove in 2 with his triple to right.
Jose is now 4th in the league behind Biggio, Gwynn, and Socha. He's hitting .346.
There's another drive, but it's going to be caught by Andre Dawson to retire the side. So 3-run score. Carry from St. Louis. We're at the end of 3. The Redbirds 4, the Cubs nothing.
Cy Young Award winner Steve Stone. I'm Tom Brenneman in St. Louis, where the Cardinals are in front of the Cubs 1-0. Jerome Walton, a deep drive left field. Gilkey to the wall. Goodbye. Jerome Walton smokes an 0-1 pitch off the facade in left field. His first home run of the year, and the Cubs are on the board. It's a 4-1 Redbirds lead.
That's RBI number 2 for Jerome Walton, and he left no doubt about that one. Gilkey went back to the wall and just looked up. That was long gone, and it's the first home run off Bob Tewksbury. High fastball. Jerome Walton going into the home run trot immediately. He knew he got all of this, and this is a tough park to hit him out.
Ryan Sandberg looks at strike 1. Jerome Walton, a happy camper down in that Cubs dugout. He's gotten his team on the board, though, still trailing by 3 runs. The 0-1 to Sandberg, and it's fouled out of play. Well, things have not been going quite so well for Rick Sutcliffe tonight, Stoney. Even on outs, St. Louis is hitting the ball very sharply.
I was concerned with what he'd come back with after that first start, and Tom, it doesn't look like he has much life on the fastball tonight. And I would be surprised if Don Zimmer was particularly patient with him. They view this as a big game to win.
Rhino fouls it back over the screen out of play. Count of no balls and 2 strikes. Well, the Cubs bullpen has been used early and often, starting with this 11-game road trip. The first 4, of course, in Pittsburgh. You'd have to believe Les Lancaster would be the first man out of the pen tonight. He hasn't had any work since Saturday. Everybody else has stayed pretty busy. 1-2 to Rhino. He popped up to the second baseman, Jose Oquendo, in shallow center field his first at bat. Cardinals with a run in the second, 3 more in the third inning, and Walton's leadoff home run here in the 4th. Down the right field line, possibly foul ground. Felix Jose just across the line makes a catch. 1 out.
The question is, what are the Cubs going to do with Felix Jose? He's been a one-man gang in these 2 games so far, and he hurt the Cubs in Wrigley Field in the first series.
I have a feeling that Felix Jose is going to hurt a lot of people in their home parks before this particular season is over. And he's going to do all kinds of damage here in St. Louis. Because he's not a guy, Steve, it looks like, that's necessarily concerned with swinging for the long ball every time he comes up. He's got terrific power into each alley, not afraid to go the other way with a pitch. Mark Grace ended the first inning on a ground ball to Jose Oquendo. Tewksbury with a 4-1 lead in the fourth inning. And again, Grace goes Oquendo's way. This time he backhands and throws him out. Jose Oquendo trying to become the first man since Claude Ritchie back in 1905 through 1907 to lead the National League second baseman in fielding percentage. He's won it back-to-back years, going for number 3 this season.
And how good is Jose Oquendo at second base? He had an errorless streak of 196 consecutive games on artificial surface come to an end Sunday. He also had 86 games in a consecutive errorless streak dating back to last season, so he can pick it.
Andre Dawson, an infield hit leading off the second inning, and he looks hit strike 1. Dawson for the first time this season batting in the number 4 hole. George Bell getting a night off. The 0-1. Good breaking ball in that inside corner from Tewksbury.
Tewksbury told us that we really didn't see the Bob Tewksbury that he could become. When he was with the Cubs, he had a bad arm, and he said there was really nothing he could do about it. He couldn't seem to shake it. But he won 10 games here last year.
Dawson fouls it out of play. Count remains 0-2.
And okay, 10 games doesn't sound like a great year, but only John Tudor and Joe McGrain won 10 for this Cardinal team that finished last for the first time since 1919 or something along those lines.
Check swing. Did he go and appeal down to first? Says Eric Gregg. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes to Dawson. Tewksbury's an awfully nice guy just to sit around and talk to. He wishes that he would have been able to give the Cubs some good years. Wish the arm would have been a little healthier. But ever since he learned to throw that changeup, things have really turned in his direction. That circle change has been a big pitch for him.
That's a good pitch, and he has a vastly underrated fastball. Joe Coleman says he gets it up there about 87, 88 miles an hour.
Into the opposite field alley. This one is headed straight for the wall. Dawson on his way to second base. And he will slow down right there with a 2-out double. That's Dawson's 3rd 2-base hit of the year, and he's a perfect 2 out of 2 tonight.
I got to believe this is a particularly tough road trip on Andre Dawson's knees. 3 artificial surfaces back to back to back. But he's not showing any ill effects with the bat. He drives this ball up the gap. And Andre with a single and a double, making things miserable for Bob Tewksbury.
Dawson named the National League's Player of the Week. Hit .357, 6 runs scored, a double, a triple, 2 home run, both of which were grand slams, and knocked in 10 runs.
That's a good month in that week. And don't worry about George Bell. He's just being given the night off by Don Zimmer. There's nothing wrong with him.
Chico Walker making his first start of the season, looks at a strike.
Don Zimmer said before the game that he's got to get Chico Walker some at bats, because if he's going to use him as a pinch hitter, he'd like to see him swing the bat 3 or 4 times to get his timing.
0-1 to count, and a pitch. Breaking ball fouled out of play. And we're also not going to see Dave Smith tonight. Has a little tenderness around the right bicep area, and Don Zimmer will give him tonight off. Smith and Paul Ossenbacher have each warmed up in all but one of the games this season. Fly ball center field. That means Ray Langford, and that means it's an out. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 man left. We head for the bottom half of the 4th inning. Redbirds in front, 4-1.
I'm about to ask a real video freak which will score more points, Eagle's new nacho cheese tortilla chips or the other leading brand. Jack? You're not paying attention to me, Jack. Now you have to try the other leading brand. Jack, I know you like Eagles better, but you have to try them both, you geek. Will you pay attention to me? Don't let this happen to you. New Eagle nacho cheese. You're gonna love them.
Yo, Mars Blackman, hear what the ladders lamp. I am the genie on the lamp. I'm granting you just one wish.
What should I wish for? Do you know?
$1 million?
Nah, tax problem.
A new car?
Can't drive. I got it.
A wop babaloo mop bam boom!
Look, Mom, I can fly. I like that, Genie.
I am the greatest!
That for the bottom half of the fourth inning in St. Louis, where the Cardinals are in front of the Cubs a count of 4-1. It'll be Tom Pagnozzi, Jose Oquendo, and Bob Tewksbury against Rick Sutcliffe, who's given up the 4 runs on 6 base hits. 4 of them came in the third inning. Gary Scott plays it and throws him out at first base, 1 down.
I'd like to see Rick Sutcliffe have a good short inning here. He's really been in a little trouble in all 3 innings, and the Cardinals have hit the ball very hard. Even the outs have been hit on a line. Sutcliffe would like to limit his pitches. He's looking up at a 3-run deficit. He's got to give his chance a team to come back and hold the Cardinals right here.
Galen Pitts, the infield coach for the St. Louis Cardinals, wants us to say hello to his wife Julia and son Travis, watching tonight in Denver, Colorado. 4-3 retired is Jose Oquendo, and Sutcliffe 2/3 of the way home with a pitcher coming up. Two of the finest fielding second basemen in the National League in this series right now. Jose Lean probably right at the top of that list as well.
If not for the bad back, Billy Dorn wouldn't be too far behind.
Fouled on a play by Tewksbury, grounded to Sean Dunston, leading off the 3-run third inning.
Anybody could have had Bob Tewksbury because he was a 6-year minor league free agent. But when the Cubs released him, the Cardinals decided he was worth a look, and he's paid dividends for them.
Coming off a dynamite outing against Montreal in the Cardinals home opener, or rather Philadelphia, when he went 7 innings, allowed 4 hits and only 1 run. 1-1 pitch. Right back to Sutcliffe, and he will enjoy his first 1-2-3 inning. We played 4 in St. Louis. Cardinals 4, Cubs 1. You wonder why Andre Dawson is a career .283 hitter who now has 396 major league home runs. Or check that, 349 major league home runs. Well, he jots down pitches that certain people work him with. He knows what he's able to hit, what he did hit, what he might not have gotten, and what to look for next time from a guy like Tewksbury.
I think it's important as you get a little older, too. You have to get smarter, or so they say. And Andre's just helping himself. It's a long year. You face a lot of guys. Some of them are tough to remember.
Check swing, a roller to the right side. Going to be a tough play. Guerrero to Tewksbury, and they get Dunston. No, they didn't. Apparently, he missed a base. Well, here comes Joe Torre, saying that Tewksbury apparently juggled a baseball.
One of 2 things happened. I think he's saying he didn't have the bag. Oh, no, he's saying he juggled the ball. And Eric is saying, look, he never had control. Let's watch it and see if he did have some control. Guerrero with the flip. He gets it there in plenty of time. He didn't have the ball. A good call by Eric Craig, and not much of a complaint by Joe Torre. Or at least it shouldn't be. And we'll watch it again. This might go as an error on Tewksbury. We'll have to see what the official score says. That does go as an error. It goes as an error on Bob Tewksbury.
That'll bring up Damon Berryhill, led off the third inning by striking out. Berryhill's average at 146 with only 1 home run and 2 knocked in. Swings and rips it down the right field line. Jose giving chase, and it's a foul ball.
We'll see if Bob Tewksbury learned something from the first at bat with Damon Berryhill. See if he stays high and away to Berryhill, who cracked the bat on that inside fastball. You really have 2 choices if a guy's going to continually stay high and away. Either try to get on top of the ball and hit down on it, which is tough to do because if you watch Berryhill swing from the left side, his first move is up. you can't get on top of the ball if your first move is up, because you're either going to miss it or hit it straight up in the air, or he's got to just lay off it. And a lot of guys that have trouble with the high pitches, they'll go into some sort of a crouch and lower the strike zone. Then if they see anything eye-high, they realize it's out of the strike zone and they take it. Jose Oquendo's a great example of that. Cecil Cooper of years ago, another example of that, and Rod Carew to a certain extent, all did the same thing. They crouched and took away the high strike from the pitcher.
Damon 1 for his last 16. And he looks at the pitch low and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Barry Hill homered off Bob Walk of the Pirates on April the 14th. It was only his second homer since August 3rd of 1989. Keeping an eye on Dunston over at first is Tewksbury. Nobody out. We're in the top of the 5th inning in St. Louis, and the Cardinals are leading the Cubs 4-1. Cardinals scored in the 2nd inning when Pagnazzi bounced into a double play, scoring Jose from third base. 2 balls and a strike, and then in the 3rd inning, singles by Gilkey, Langford, RBI single from Guerrero, and a 2-run triple by Felix Jose. Jerome Walton got the Cubs on the board, leading off the 4th inning with a home run to left field, his first this year. And Dunston reaches on an error by Tewksbury, leading off the 5th. Popped up, foul grab. Todd Zeile straddling the line in fair territory, makes a grab.
They keep the ball away and keep it above the belt. If your first move is up, that's what will happen continuously. I'd like to see Gary Scott start hitting the ball. He hasn't been able to pull much lately. Looks to me like he's been tentative. He's not attacking the ball like he did in spring training, and that's really to be expected for a guy who is struggling and just trying to find his way.
Gary flying to right field in the 3rd inning. Dunston on at first, perfect in stolen bases this year. This could be trouble. Zeile, Oquendo, and the throw to first, a late one, and it almost sailed over Guerrero's head. Scored 5-4, 2 men down in the inning.
Dunston was hustling down the line, and he almost got a piece of Jose Oquendo. See right there, not much Oquendo can do. Reminiscent of the Don Kessinger jump pass of bygone days. Don would go into the hole, jump up in the air, and get the ball across. Oquendo tries to do the same thing. Not much leverage when you're in the air trying to get the throw away, but that's what Oquendo tried to do.
So Red Sutcliffe will come to the plate. 1 on, 2 down. Sut grounded Todd Zeile's way, or rather the first baseman, Pedro Guerrero, to end the 3rd inning. Tewksbury has only allowed 3 base hits. Pretty well hit left field, but Gilkey with lots of room. Comes in a few steps, he has it. The inning is over. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left. Bottom of the 5th, just around the corner. Why don't you come along for the ride? 4-1 St. Louis.
Introducing the Bud Light IMSA Racing Team. Catch it this season.
Let's go. We're all revved up and ready to go.
How do we get the truck back? Throw it in reverse.
Let's go.
Top of the order for the Redbirds in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Bernard Gilkey, Ozzie Smith, Ray Langford. Count of 0-1 on Gilkey, who is 2 for 2 tonight. Led off with a Gad double down the right field line, and then singled into left field in the 3rd inning. Gilkey, a non-drafted player who signed after a tryout camp here in St. Louis. He's from this area. Really turned the corner a couple of years ago at Double-A Arkansas, and he has been on the ladder just racing up ever since.
That's what you like to see in evaluating a player. He got off to a very slow start, hitting in the 240s. He could always run. That was no problem. Last couple of years, he's hit in the 290s, and he seems to be getting better and better with every passing year. So the performance curve is definitely on the upswing.
2-1 pitch, and it's in the dirt. 3-1 to Gilkey. Bob Tewksbury, pretty good game so far. He's allowed 3 hits. He's fanned a pair. He's not walked a man. Served up the home run to Walton in the 4th inning. Gary Scott. Good strong throw to Mark Grace. Gilkey out of there for the first time tonight. 1 down.
Cubs were doing okay on this road trip until they encountered their former Cubs. You think back to the Pittsburgh series, Kurt Wilkerson and Lloyd McClendon with a couple of key hits. Gary Varsho certainly with a key hit. And Jamie Moyer last night, Bob Tewksbury tonight, doing quite a job on the mound for the Cardinals.
Pitch in the dirt to Ozzie Smith, 0 for 2. Ozzie is lined to right field and bounced into a fielder's choice. Scored a run in the third inning when Pedro Guerrero knocked him in with a single in the center. Sutcliffe has retired 5 men in a row. And a pitch outside. 2 balls and no strikes. 11 consecutive years. Ozzie Smith has won the Gold Glove at shortstop. He won it every single year in the decade of the 1980s. And the only other man to accomplish that feat in terms of winning the Gold Glove every single year in a decade was a great Baltimore third baseman, Brooks Robinson. 3-0 delivery. And Smith taking all the way, ball 4. He is aboard.
Rick Sutcliffe does not have a strikeout tonight. Now, granted, he doesn't have the greatest stuff. However, that's not a mistake. The Cardinals are very concerned with contact. Joe Torre tried to stress to this team, you're not going to hit the ball out of the park very often. So if you put the ball in play, you put the pressure on the defense. You can't help anybody by striking out, and they use a lot of hit and runs, and they have to make contact. So this whole team is very aware of the fact that they got to put the bat on the ball and keep it in play.
Here's a man that can do just that. There goes Ozzie, pitch in the dirt, throw to second base, no chance. Tough try there for Damon Berryhill. That pitch was in the dirt, and Ozzie had a good jump off the slow, deliberate Sutcliffe to the plate.
Ozzie's 2 for 2 this year. He stole 32 bases last year, and he gets a big jump. Not a real good throw, but it's doubtful if they'd have gotten Ozzie Smith with that long, slow delivery of Rick Sutcliffe. He's got 3 steps before Sutcliffe could deliver the ball.
Les Lancaster now starting to get loose in the Cubs bullpen as the count goes to 1-1 on Ray Langford. Lester did not pitch in that 11-inning marathon in Pittsburgh on Sunday. Don Zimmer opted for one of his starting pitchers, Mike Bilecki, to come into that game before Lancaster, and he was the only reliever that did not appear in the game. 1 on, 1-1 pitch, and Langford thought about it, lays off the breaking ball down and in, 2-1. Pirates leading Montreal. They're now in the 8th inning, 5-3. New York in front of Philadelphia in the bottom of the 8th at the vet, 2-1. Cincinnati and Houston are scoreless in the 4th inning.
This is the debut of Jim Fregosi, the new Philadelphia Phillies manager. They would have had Ozzie Smith dead to rights, but Rick Sutcliffe couldn't pull the trigger. That's a daylight pickoff, and as soon as the pitcher sees Sean Dunston in between Ozzie and the bag, he's got to turn and throw. Rick was a little deliberate. He made the turn but never got off the throw.
Langford singled and scored in the 3rd inning. Cardinals are leading 4-1, and the pitch is knee high on the outside corner, 2-2. Ray Langford enjoyed a terrific inning on Sunday against Philadelphia. Did a little overtime in that one, and Langford led off the inning with a walk, stole second, came all the way home to score when he barreled over Darren Dalton on a ground ball to first base. Joe Torre having something to say now to home plate umpire Country Joe West.
Little discrepancy as far as the count is concerned in the mind of Joe Torre. And Joe Torre is telling Ray Langford something about the count. I think he might have thought that Langford felt the count was 3-1. Board says 2-2.
Ozzie checking in with Eric Gregg at second base, enjoying a quick laugh. A couple of good shortstops in that picture. And it is lined right back at Sutcliffe, who just threw the glove up in front of the old noggin to save himself.
One of the cardinal rules of pitching is you want to avoid a face burger. And that's exactly where Rick Sutcliffe was headed if he doesn't get the glove up. Whoa. He got the glove up in time. Get that cowhide facial and it's going to ruin your night.
So here's Pedro Guerrero, and he looks at a pitch high, ball 1. Guerrero tonight has flied to right and singled home run in the third inning. Later scored himself when Felix Jose cleared the bases with a triple down the right field line. Smith at second base, and a good sharp breaking ball. 1-1.
That's one of the parts of pitching I really don't miss. Getting those line drives back through the middle. You throw the ball anywhere between 85 and 88 miles an hour. It comes back to you well over 100 miles an hour. Sometimes it's tough to get the glove up.
On the outside corner again, Guerrero not all sure about that call from West. He's behind at Sutcliffe, 1-2.
Pedro originally signed with the Cleveland Indians as a 16-year-old, only to become a star with the Dodgers.
Guerrero, often injured in his days in Los Angeles, came over to St. Louis and played in all but one game his first season under manager Whitey Herzog, who really got the most out of this terrific player. And still a dynamite offensive force, although certainly no Gold Glove winner over at first base.
He has played in every game this year, as has Jose Oquendo. It was a boomerang deal. Guerrero for Tudor, then they got Tudor back, and he hurt himself and ended his career.
2-2 pitch, and it's fouled on a play. Saw where Lee Thomas, the general manager of the Phillies, told John Tudor over the wintertime, sent him a letter and said, hey, look, I know you've already decided upon retirement, but should you get the itch to pitch just one more time, make my number the first one you dial. There are a lot of teams that would still like to have John Tudor. He was pitching with enormous pain last season, but boy, he was still getting people out on a very regular basis.
Anytime you can throw sinkers away from hitters, hit the outside corner consistently and keep it around the knees like John Tudor could, you will get some outs.
Ozzie at second, 2 down, 2-2 to Guerrero, and it's ball 3.
The Phillies made a couple of call-ups today. Jim Lindemann, a former Cardinal, coming to the Phillies, as did Danny Cox, another former Cardinal. So Lee Thomas, very familiar with the St. Louis organization. He's got a lot of former Cardinals in the Philly organization, and 2 of them just went to the big leagues when Jim Fregosi took over the club.
3 balls, 2 strikes, and it's fouled on a play. They also brought up Mickey Morandini, who had a better spring at second base than Wally Backman. Morandini did not make the club coming out of spring training, but he has been brought up, and Lee Thomas made the comment today at the press conference when they announced the hiring of Fregosi, the firing of Leyva, that Morandini is going to play second base every day. Wes Chamberlain, the Chicago native, sent down, and Dave LaPointe was released. Ball 4 to Guerrero. And here comes Don Zimmer out of the Cubs dugout. That might just about do it for the Redhead. Lancaster has been up since this inning got underway, and he is ready down in the pen if needed.
Felix Jose has a double and a triple and 2 RBIs and 2 at-bats. And I think that Don Zimmer doesn't want to see what he'll do in the next at-bat against Rick Sutcliffe. So on comes Lancaster. Rick Sutcliffe is done for the night.
Sutcliffe leads in the bottom of the 5th inning with 2 on, 2 down, and the Redbirds leading 4-1. And Felix Jose at the plate. It's pulled to the right side. Grace knocks it down and makes a run-saving play.
Felix Jose has hit for the cycle in his last 4 at-bats, but the home run came yesterday. He is 1 home run away from hitting for the cycle. He drives this ball off the glove of Mark Grace. Grace doing a good job of keeping this ball in the infield, but the bases are loaded. 2 outs here, and the Cardinals threatening to put this one away.
Todd Zeile is 0 for 1. He drew a walk in the 2nd inning with that base hit by Felix Jose. His average has been bumped up to a robust .358. Zeile has not hit a home run this season. He's knocked in 10 runs, which is 8th best in the National League. Sacks are drunk with Redbirds, and it's Steve Reich 1 called at the knees.
The outfield is straightaway and very deep for Todd Zeile, who does have very good power.
Lancaster out of the stretch, and a pitch is taken a little bit inside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Zeal hit 15 home runs last year. And the Cardinals figure that he's going to be a 20-25 home run man most every year. Now that they've got him at one position, he's confident defensively, and he's a very aggressive hitter.
Zeal, the minor league player of the year in '89. With Louisville, he hit 19 home runs and knocked in 85. He hits a drive to deep center field, but it's extremely deep out there, and Walton, shy of the warning track, makes the play. Good job by Lancaster. No runs a hit, 3 men left. We head for the 6th inning. Cardinals still leading by 3. Director of Cubs baseball is Mr. Arnie Harris, and along with Steve Stone, I'm Tom Brenneman in St. Louis. It's been all Cardinals leading 4-1. Jerome Walton, his last trip, led off the 4th inning with a home run to left field, his first of the season. Walton has now knocked in 2 runs and has done it in back-to-back nights. Had a sac fly RBI in the 3rd inning of last night's game, scoring Sean Bosky, who had a 1-out triple down the right field line. Jerome will be followed by Ryan Sandberg and then Mark Grace, and the 2-1 pitch from Tewksbury. High fly ball left field. This one will stay in the yard. Gilkey waiting. He has it, 1 out. We invite you to be with us tomorrow night, or rather on Thursday night, in the first of a 4-game series against the defending world champion Cincinnati Reds. In Game 1, a terrific pitching matchup indeed. Greg Maddux 2-1 against southpaw Tom Browning, also 2-1. We'll be on the air at 6:30 Central Time. Same thing on Friday night, when Mike Harkey 0-1 will get it on with World Series MVP Jose Rijo 0-1. Let's quickly pause for station identification on the Cubs television network.
This is WGN-TV Chicago, America's #1 sports station.
Sandberg pulls the 1-0 pitch foul. Ball and a strike. Want to remind you, coming up after the ball game, it'll be the WGN Channel 9 9 o'clock news. So we invite you to stay with us.
Tewksbury very rarely gets himself in trouble, so you're going to have to hit to beat him, because he's not going to walk too many people and help you out.
Good location on the outside corner. 1 and 2 to Rhino. Hitless in 2 trips. Popped up to Jose Oquendo in the 1st inning, and then flying to shallow right field in the 4th. 1-2 delivery, and a breaking ball that Sandberg just did manage to get a piece of. This 11-game road trip so far has not been so rosy. Cubs won the 1st game in Pittsburgh on Thursday night, but haven't won since. Lost Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to the Bucks. Last night to the Cardinals, and trailing 4-1 tonight. Down over the screen and out of play.
Tewksbury is showing you what it takes to win in the major leagues, and that you don't need an overpowering fastball. He would love to have one, but very few pitchers do. So what he's doing to compensate for that fastball is not giving the Cubs anything straight to get a good swing at. He's throwing the ball in on the hands and throwing his breaking ball away. Throws a pretty good changeup, and he's mixing those in, and he's getting most everything over the plate. He's had a lot of 0-2, 1-2 counts, and he's staying ahead of most of these Cub hitters.
1-2 delivery, and didn't get the outside corner, just missed it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mark Grace waiting on deck. Nobody on, 1 out. Break-even pitch to Sandberg, and again he fouls it away.
The infielders can afford to play a little deeper here in St. Louis. It's very spongy turf, and the ball gets on the infielders in a hurry. You can see how deep both Zeal and Ozzie Smith are. You really can't afford that at Wrigley Field.
Sandberg just staying around by fouling the Tewksbury offerings out of play, and the count stays at 2-2. Pirates now leading Montreal in the 8th inning, 7-3. Van Slyke a 2-run home run. Bobby Bonilla a 2-run double. The wind and a 2-2 pitch again, and again Rhino fouls it off. Tewksbury has never lost to his former club. He's appeared in 4 games through his career, a 2-0 record, a 5.40 ERA. His last win came at Wrigley Field against the Cubs on the 7th of September of last season when he beat them 4-3.
I would think at this point that Ryan Sandberg has seen just about everything that Bob Tewksbury has. So if he doesn't make a good pitch, Rhino's going to hit it hard somewhere. Many times when a hitter fouls everything off, you wonder on the mound if you have anything that you can get him out with. And Rhino spoiling a lot of good pitches. I think he realizes the 3rd time at bat that Tewksbury's not going to be able to overpower him. Let's see if he hits this one on the button.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and a ground ball right at Kendo. He picks it off the turf, throws on to Guerrero, and 2 men retired in the Cubs' 6th inning. Cubs have not had a base hit since a double to right center by Dawson with 2 men out in the 4th inning.
It's a pretty good pitch by Bob Tewksbury. He threw a slider away from Sandberg, kept it low, and Rhino couldn't do anything with it. Let's watch the pitch and watch the location. Tewksbury threading the needle low and away. And if you keep it there all night, you're a winner.
Mark Grace fouls it out of play on 1. Mark twice has grounded Jose Akendo's way. The 0-1 pitch, and it's skied towards center field. Going out Ozzie, and he'll be the one to make the catch. A 1-2-3-6 frame as Bob Tewksbury trots off the mound. Headed for the bottom of the 6th. It's still 4-1, St. Louis on top. 4-1 game. St. Louis in front as we start the bottom half of the 6th. Les Lancaster on relief for Rick Sutcliffe, who went the first 4 2/3, allowed 6 hits, 4 runs, all earned. He walked 3 and did not strike out a batter. Pagnazzi will be followed by Jose Akendo and then Bob Tewksbury, who has pitched pretty effectively in this ball game. He's allowed only 3 hits and 1 run inside. 1-1 to Pagnazzi, a .244 batter. He has knocked in 4 runs this season, although hitless tonight.
Neither the Cardinals or the Cubs have a complete game out of their starters yet. Although Bob Tewksbury is sailing right along. But the Cubs are slowly moving into Lee Smith territory.
Here's a 2-1, and it's a fly ball center field. Very high, and Walton just waiting for it to trickle on down. 1 out. Hector Villanueva down there playing toss with Eric Pappas. Hector has not appeared since coming off the disabled list. Of course, he came off when Danny Jackson went on a couple of days ago. Speaking of Danny Jackson, he has that strained left groin. He was examined yesterday in Chicago by Dr. Michael Schaefer. He is expected to be out for 3 to 4 weeks and is currently undergoing therapy in Chicago. Now, Joe Girardi was examined today by Doc Schaefer and has an inflammation of his lower back. He will be hospitalized at Northwestern Memorial Hospital the next 4 days, complete bed rest. He is undergoing steroid treatments and will begin therapy upon release from the hospital. And Joe, if you're watching tonight, we send out our best. And Danny, the same thing. We need you back soon. Inside, 2-1 to Akendo.
It's one thing that nobody can predict when you try to make your early season predictions on how a club will fare. Most everybody hedges their bet by saying barring injuries.
Another fly ball, Jerome Walton's way, center field, and quickly 2 gone in the Redbird 6th. You know, the amazing thing is the Oakland Athletics. I mean, you're talking about Ricky Henderson on the shelf. Canseco's missed a few games. And then you have some very solid pitchers in that group. Todd Burns, Eric Schau, Rick Honeycutt,
Bob Welch,
Gene Nelson.
And you're talking about injured.
Yeah. And still winning.
Well, they lost 5 in a row, and I think one of the big blows, they could overcome many of the pitchers and an occasional Canseco out of the lineup, but the loss of Ricky Henderson just cripples that team.
Swing and a miss by Tewksbury. When I say still winning, obviously they have the losing streak, but I mean they're still hanging around up there and only a few steps away from first place.
Well, they've got a tremendous amount of talent up and down that roster.
And out on strikes is Tewksbury. A 1-2-3 inning for Les Lancaster. Harry Carey coming back your way in a seventh after 6. Cardinals 4 and the Cubs 1.
Harry Carey back in St. Louis with Steve Stone and Tom Brenneman as we go in the top of the 7th. And the Cubs could use some runs. By the way, tonight's designated butt batter is Carrie L. Mann from Elson Air Force Base, Arkansas. She has the chance to win $100 immediately and a chance of sharing in a $10,000 bonus pool to be awarded at the end of the season. Good luck, Carrie. Carrie L. Mann from Elson Air Force Base, Arkansas.
Andre has started out red hot, one of the few Cub hitters who has been swinging the bat well.
I would say Dawson and Grace have been about it. Chuck McElroy gets ready in the bullpen. 3 balls, no strike. He walked him. Come on, let's go. Dawson is on for the 3rd time in a row. He singled, doubled, and walked.
Good idea about non-complete games. The Cardinal bullpen is getting ready with the first walk of the night issued by Bob Tewksbury.
And boy, they got a bullpen.
Chris Carpenter taking off the jacket, and he'll get loose.
There's Chico Walker. He's flat out to center twice. Switch hitter. He bunts, but it bunts foul. Well, that was a first attempt tonight. I kind of wondered why they didn't earlier with the way that Kendall plays a short center field beyond the perimeter of the infield. Twice he's thrown out Grace. 0-2 now. Once he threw Grace out from short right field. The next time he threw him out from short center field. 0-2.
Chris Carpenter, one of the few men I have ever heard say that he didn't want to be in the starting rotation. The Cardinals have used him as a starter in the past, but he prefers the bullpen.
Ball outside. Time to score some runs. 4-1 in favor of the Cardinals. The Cubs have only 3 hits. Last night they had only 4. 1 ball, 2 strikes. George Bell being given a night off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Double play ball. Out at second. Out at first. The ball was hit like a rocket. Right on one hop to Okendo, who started the 4-6-3 double play.
That's the second double play of the night. If you give these guys a shot, they're going to turn it over. Ozzie as smooth as anybody coming across the bag, and Okendo gives him a perfect throw. Back across to just nip Chico Walker. It's a rocket, but it turns into 2.
Here's Dunston. Hitting a double play and safe on an error. There's some of the other scores. Texas at Milwaukee tied in the 6th. Yankees leading Detroit 5-0 in the 8th. Red Sox over Toronto 2-0 in the 6th. There's a curveball inside. Kansas City, Kirk Gibson hit his 5th home run. Stormy Davis pitched the shutout. Oakland leading in Minnesota. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now the National League score. Pittsburgh leading Montreal. Barry Bonds hit a homer. The Phillies batting in the bottom of the ninth, trailing the Mets 2-1. A tap right back to Tewksbury. They go in the bottom of the seventh. 4-1 St. Louis.
What do you think? Here's a better idea.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the Bermuda Triangle.
No wonder nobody ever comes back.
We go in the bottom of the seventh. Bernard Gilkey will lead it off. He's 2 out of 3 so far. Lancaster throws the strike. They got Gilkey out his last time up. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Joe Coleman, the pitching coach of the Cardinals. There's Ray Langford.
There's a drive, but Walton is there. Gilkey, line to Walton. 1 away.
It was really the emergence of Bernard Gilkey that helped the Cardinals decide that they would let Vince Coleman go. They think Gilkey's going to be a fine player and probably hit a little better than Coleman, but he won't be quite the same force on the base paths.
Well, I tell you, when you consider the difference in the money between his 100,000 and Coleman's 3 or 4 million.
It's fiscal responsibility? Is that what you're saying?
That's the reason. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ozzie Smith. There's a smash. Base hit. And that brings up Ray Langford. He had a line drive at Sutcliffe in the 5th that Sut caught. And his whole life must have gone before his eyes as the ball came hurtling towards his face. He got his glove up just in time to grab it. One out, 1 on.
Ozzie stole a base in the 5th inning, his 2nd of the year. And he gets as big a lead as anybody on this team.
Boy, he's got a full stride on the carpet. Langford, young outfielder, 1 out of 7 in this series. Hit .458 against Cub pitching last year. There he goes. There's a peg way in the center field. And Ozzie Smith is on his way to third base. A stolen base and here on Berryhill.
Great jump by Ozzie Smith. And Damon Berryhill threw the ball on the first base side of second. Well, watch the jump, and Smith is off. Lancaster not paying any attention to him. Berryhill really can't do anything with this throw. It's a terrible throw, but Ozzie would have had it stolen anyway.
So now a runner's at third. First error of the ball game. No, there was another one earlier. There's a ground ball, and Grace holds him at third base. Langford grounded to Grace, who looked over at Ozzie Smith and then stepped on the bag. So the runner's still at third with 2 away.
That's error number 1 this year for Damon Berryhill.
Tewksbury has an error for the Cardinals. Berryhill for the Cubs. And here's that man again, Pedro Guerrero. drove in a run in the third. Everybody tries to pitch him high and tight. And Les Lancaster takes his turn with his ball one. That evens the count, a ball and a strike. 2 out. Runner at third.
Last man to hit for the cycle for the St. Louis Cardinals was Willie McGee in 1984. Before that, it was Lou Brock in 1975 and Joe Torre in 1973.
There's a high drive, should be caught. Andre's there, and he has it to retire the side. One hit, one left, one air. At the end of 7, 4-1 St. Louis. Steve Stone as we go into the top of the 8th. Here comes George Bell to pinch hit for Berryhill. Bell will be facing Chris Carpenter, a football star as well as baseball out of the University of Georgia.
Sparkling 1.13 ERA on for the 7th time.
Fastball is low. Well, Bell's day of rest was a sharp one. He's in the ball game in the 8th. Ball 2 inside. 2-0.
What a job by Bob Tewksbury. 7 innings, 1 run on 3 hits. He walked just 1 and he fanned 2. And he gave up the 1 home run to Jerome Walton.
2 balls, no strikes. Strike call. Well, I told you what worried me about this game, an ex-Cub. Seems like the Cubs bring out the best in all the ex-Club Cubs that there are around the league. Swung on, there's a drive. Way back, it might be. It could be. It is for George Bell. Bell homered high into the left field seats. His 3rd home run of the year. 4-2 now.
No doubt about that one. He got it all, and Gilkey looked up. That was way back in the cheap seats. George Bell getting what looked like a high inside fastball and taking him way back. That'll bring Joe Coleman out of the dugout to have a word with Carpenter, who was greeted with a bomb. First home run he's given up this year.
It was a high inside fastball, and he hit it a ton. You know, we've been losing so many games ourselves. It's about time we turn around and came from behind and beat the other guy. But boy, to beat these guys, you're going to have to beat Lee Smith, who is an ex-Cub.
Lee Smith and Juan Augusto listening up in the pen. So a rude greeting by George Bell to Chris Carpenter. Smitty is 5 for 5 in save opportunities this year.
Now only 2 runs behind. Dwight Smith is going to be the pinch hitter for Scott. Smith batting for Gary Scott. Smith is nothing out of 5. He drills one into right field. Down the line for 2. And Dwight Smith on the first pitch. Double to right. And now you can bet the Cardinals are getting a little nervous. Chris Carpenter's pitched to 2 men. One a homer, the other one a double.
The Cubs had 2 pinch hits coming into this game, and they've got 2 and 2 pitches.
And now here is Luis Salazar. Salazar will pinch hit for Lancaster. Salazar has hit a homer this year. 1 out of 8. A home run. Comes up with a runner at second and nobody out. And the head of our batting order will be coming up next. Jerome Walton in the on-deck circle.
Credit Les Lancaster with a pretty good job in relief. 2 1/3 innings, and he didn't give the Cardinals anything.
Fastball inside, ball 1. Salazar representing the tying run. Oquendo playing very deep at second base. That evens the count, a ball and a strike. There's George Bell. Handsome fellow. One ball, one strike. Ground ball to the shortstop. He's got it. Throws the first to the out. And Dwight Smith wisely held second base.
Not a particularly good at bat for Luis Salazar. If anything, you want to hit the ball to the right side and advance Smith. Get him to third with less than 2 outs where Jerome Walton can knock him in and cut this game to 1. So now, at least to this point, it's going to take a base hit to score Dwight.
Good well wishes to John A. Hearn Jr. at Grant Hospital in Chicago. Here's Walton. He homered in the 4th. Fastball a little bit high. Inside, ball 1. There is Zeal playing wide of the bag at third. Ball 2 outside. 2 balls, no strike.
That's going to be it for Chris Carpenter. Joe Torre is not going to go any deeper into this game with him.
I see Lee Smith is throwing hard in the bullpen. And boy, what a record he has for the year. Perfect. Smith has been in 6 games, credited with a save in 5 and with a victory in the other one. And so, $25,384 paid. Lee Smith comes strolling in. We'll be back with more following this message. Harris, a 2-0 count from Chris Carpenter on Jerome Walton. Two balls, no strike. Swings at the first pitch, fouls it off. Now the count is 2 balls and a strike. Wow, man. One out, one on, one in. Pop fly. He made 2 pitches. He inherited a 2-0 count. And each of his first 2 pitches, Walton was swinging at. On the second, he pops out to Ozzie Smith.
Ozzie Smith kind of laughing with Jose Oquendo. Ozzie almost ran over Dwight Smith coming back to try to make this one, and I think Ozzie is yelling for Oquendo to take it. Jose is saying, Ozzie, it's all yours. You've been around much longer than I have. As Ozzie negotiates Dwight Smith, he makes the play.
Here's Sandberg. 0 for 3 in this ball game. A big out, especially inheriting a 2-ball count. Strike call.
There's a difference in Lee Smith. He would very rarely, if ever, start off a hitter with a slider. But that was an off-speed slider, and he threw a good one. Lee is throwing a forkball, but he doesn't get an opportunity to throw it too much, especially in these situations.
No balls, 1 strike. Little low and outside, evens the count, a ball and a strike. Mark Grace will be next. if Sandberg keeps the inning alive. One pitch. Smith steps off the rubber. Bell's third home run of the year started the inning off Carpenter. Swung, and he missed it. And he missed it badly. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Look where Okendo is. Look at that. Can you believe that? 1 ball, 2 strikes. Struck him out. Oh, he was just overmatched. 1 run, 2 hits. We go in the bottom of the 8th. 4-2 in favor of the Cardinals. St. Louis, George Bell playing left field. And Chico Walker comes in to play third.
Slocum on the mound and Pappas catching. So a brand new battery. Slocum in his 8th appearance, 3.12 ERA, 1-0 record.
Lancaster 2 in the 3rd innings. Allowed 2 hits, no run. Felix Jose, if you want to count his last 4 times at bat, he's hit for the scale. He homered last night, single, double, and triple tonight. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Takes a strike. Slocum. There's a high fly ball. Bell coming in, and he makes a fine play with 1 hand. Bell, a fine play on Jose's looping fly ball that looked like it would drop for a hit.
Looked like George might have been fooled on this ball, but he comes on hard to make the play, and he continues to sparkle defensively in left field.
1 man out. There's Todd Zeile. The Cubs will have their final chance in the 9th. Grace, Dawson, and Chico Walker. In that order. Bouncing ball. Chico has it. Throws the first. Nice play by Grace. Zeile is thrown out. Chico Walker to Grace, who scooped up a low throw.
Mark Grace will save this infield a lot of errors, and Chico Walker comes across. Has to hurry his throw, and Grace picks it up and retires Zeile.
2 men are out. Nobody on. Tom Pagnazzi, the hitter. Four-2 in favor of the Cardinals. Cubs trying to avoid their 5th loss in a row. There's a little dribbler. The pitcher will cover the toss. 1, 2, 3. At the end of 8. St. Louis 4, Chicago 2. Director of Cubs baseball is Arnie Harris. The coordinating producer is Bill Borson. Our associate producer is Joe Cornell. The executive producer is Jim Zerwick. Remember, the news follows the ball game as we go now to the top of the 9th. Here's Grace to lead it off. Lee Smith going for his 6th save of the year. High pop fly, first pitch. Easy out, Langford. One away.
Continues to amaze me, Harry. You know you want to get a base runner ahead of Andre Dawson who can hit the ball out of the park. You're 2 runs down, and that's one of the few hopes you have, and yet you swing at the first pitch. The game has changed.
I say it has. How about Walton? With Lee Smith coming in on a cold night, he's already got a 2-0 count. You'd think he'd take at least one pitch. He might go to 3-0. Instead, he swung, fouled it off, swung again, popped up. 1 out, nobody on. Here's Dawson with a single, a double, and a walk to his credit. A high foul ball back right below it. Grace, Dawson, and Bell are the only Cubs with the end. Dunston, too. The only Cubs who have hit this season. 1 ball, 2 strikes. High pop fly out of play. And the Cubs, if they lose, will be under the 500 mark. If they lose, they'll be 7-8. They're 7-7 right now.
Cardinals have made some pretty good deals over the last few years, but this was one of their best. Tom Brunansky going to Boston when Todd Worrell went down. Lee Smith came to the Cardinals, and he's done a whale of a job for them.
There's a drive hit hard, but right after center field. Dawson hit him hard. A line drive right at Langford. Two out. And here's Chico Walker. He's 0 for 3. Hit the ball hard into a double play in the 7th. Lee Smith will pick up his 6th save of the year. There's a high fly ball. The ball game's going to be over. And the Cubs have lost their 5th in a row. Their 2nd straight to the Cardinals, who have beaten them here tonight by the score of 4-2. We'll be back in a moment. Happened in the 3rd inning when Felix Jose, with a score 2-0, lines his shot down the right field line for a triple, scoring 1 man, 2 men, and with his blow, the St. Louis Cardinals had a 4-0 lead. That's the Budweiser play of the game. We'll be back with the totals in a moment.